Hi, I'm Mr. Burke, and welcome back to my Introduction to Latin series. Today, I want to talk about the perfect tense. Now, so far, we've learned how to say things in the present tense. The word amo means I love. It can also be translated I am loving or I do love. But the idea is that amo happens right now in the present. The perfect tense describes actions that have been completed. So if I want to say I loved, or I did love, or I have loved, that's going to require the perfect tense. Some students like to say past tense, but that's not a good term here because there are a lot of other tenses that happen in the past. For example, I was loving happens in the past, but it's not perfect tense. So we, being good Latin scholars, are going to use the term perfect, not past, when describing I loved, I did love, and I have loved. So finally, more of the dictionary entry is going to become important. For a while, we've been learning full dictionary entries like amo, amare, amavi, amatus. Well, now it's time to take that third principal part, amavi, and put it into use. To form the perfect, I loved, we just got to take amavi, remove that long I, and then add the corresponding perfect ending. Perfect endings are isti, it, imus istus erunt. We're going to have to chant this and just commit it to memory, but there are still patterns here that can help us. If we remember our present tense endings, ost, mus, tis, unt, we can make some comparisons. Starting at the third person singular, it looks a lot like t, imus looks a lot like mus, istus still ends in tis, and erunt still ends in that nt. So even though I want you to commit these to memory, identifying them shouldn't be too hard and should be fairly easy right off the bat, with the first and second person singular maybe being the trickiest. Let's see what that looks like on amo, amare, amavi, amatus. Amavi, I loved. Amawisti, you loved. Amawit, he, she, it loved. Amawimus, we loved. Amawistis, y'all loved. Amawerunt, they loved. Again, another way to translate amawi is I have loved, and still another is I did love. These will be especially important when translating a negative, like non-amawi means I did not love, or I have not loved. This is also why it's important to remember all principal parts of a verb. The difference between habet and habuit is sure, that it versus that et, but it's also that principal part. Habet clearly comes from habere, whereas habuit clearly comes from habui. It's also worth noting that the perfect tense is an extraordinarily regular tense. So even though we memorized the irregular sum es est, sumus estis sunt, the perfect tense of sum is going to be very regular. Remember the dictionary entry, sum esse fui? We take that third principal part, fui, and we add our perfect endings. I isti it, imus istus erunt. Fui, I was. Fuisti, you were, etc. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we learned about the perfect tense. That is, we learned the perfect endings and how to translate it. Until next time, wale!